Hello, hello. Happy Wednesday, happy hump day. I hope you guys are having a fantastic morning so far, or at least it's morning here in Wisconsin right now. It is a little bit chilly. I know that some other areas of the country they're getting a ton of rain. I hope wherever you are cozy and just taking care of yourself. Andy's got a cold, so I am like running the humidifier. I've got my heater going. I've got my tea because this girl is not getting sick. I'm going to give everybody a couple seconds to hop on, but in the meantime, I would love to know if you want to drop in the comments, since we are talking about tips for traveling on a budget, what areas of travel do you normally splurge on? For us, it's definitely the food. I can camp and, backcountry it with the best of them, but if we're going into town, I'm probably looking for something really good to eat. So food is definitely my area that I love to splurge on. So go ahead and tell me in the comments what you normally splurge on. So we meaning Andy and I have consciously created a life where we love traveling and we incorporate that as often as we can. Fortunately, with my jobs, I have multiple photography businesses. They allow me to travel often. So I'm often getting paid to travel and like where I'm going and that kind of thing, which I'll kind of dive a little bit more into that later. So I do have that unfair advantage over the somewhat average person. But we also are conscious of how we travel, the ways we travel, and the ways that we want to spend our money. We're very much experience-based couples rather than, material items and that kind of thing. So that's very much a priority for us. So when we're looking at the year ahead and the months ahead, we're conscious of where we want to go and what we want to be doing. So one of the ways that we do that is looking at how can we travel smart while still taking advantage of the things that we want to do and what's important to us on that trip. And if we're not able to make that happen at that time, then oftentimes we'll rework that plan and figure something else out. Like one of the things for us is we would love to go to New Zealand someday, and Andy very much wants to do a red stag hunt while he's out there. So we were considering that for our honeymoon, but since we are honeymooning in, it's summer here, so I believe that's winter there, since we're in different hemispheres, that just might not be ideal red stag hunting time. So we are reworking that plan and figuring that out because that's a priority for us. So number one for tips for traveling on a budget would be, one, decide what your budget is and what you are willing to splurge on. That's kind of why I wanted to ask that question in the first place. For us, we know that we love spending money on food, and we are very much willing to camp or do whatever else is necessary at that time to make that vision happen. Sometimes we truly we love camping, but then there are times where we're like, you know what, I kind of want a hotel room tonight, and we are very comfortable making that happen too. So just know what your priorities are, what you're willing to splurge on, kind of what your budget is overall for your travel, and start there. Next, for some tips on saving on transportation. One great way to save some money is if you're able to drive or take a train rather than flying. Oftentimes, driving is less of an expense than a plane ticket, again, depending on where you're going and depending on the time frame that you have for yourself. If you've only got, a weekend and you just kind of want to bomb out to Colorado, it's probably going to be more beneficial, especially for like those of us that are based in Green Bay. We now have a direct flight from Green Bay to Denver, which is awesome. We are taking advantage of that in May, and I can't wait. But that definitely makes a lot more sense for us if we have a limited window of, a couple days than driving out there, because the drive itself takes about 17 hours one way. So if you have flexibility to take some time, road trip it, see the country, driving is most often more economical than flying. If you're able to take a train, Amtrak, that kind of thing, oftentimes that can be cheaper than a plane ticket as well. And those options are a little bit more eco-friendly than flying. Unfortunately, with a plane, there is a lot of fuel required to make that happen. Another great option would be using Priceline for a rental car. The nice thing with Priceline is oftentimes you're able to make a reservation without putting money down right away, so that you're able to either cancel like day of, you don't have to necessarily follow through with the reservation, and you can track prices and see if the prices drop if you're flying somewhere and you need a car. And another great option with that, I'm going to mention it a couple times, is Ibotta. I love using Ibotta for booking travel because I travel all the time, and they partner up with Priceline for sure, and I think potentially Hotwire, maybe Hotels.com too. I'm not sure. I don't use Hotels.com a ton. For hotels, I'm always using Priceline or Hotwire. But if you can link up and book your travels through Priceline through Ibotta, you get cash back, which is, who doesn't want free money? So using Priceline for that rental car, seeing if the prices go down, you're able to kind of track that a little bit. And then for flights, using Kayak or Google Flight Tracker. With that, you're actually able to set up a true tracker system, and you can see if the prices are going up, if they're going down, if they predict them to stay low, so that you're taking advantage of the best price available. Some airlines will allow you to cancel within 24 hours once you've booked your flight. So if something drastic comes up, or all of a sudden, the rates completely drop and you want to cancel and rebook, you'll have that flexibility. With Southwest Airlines, you are able to, I think, cancel up to like 24 hours. Maybe it's even closer to your flight than that, but you're able to cancel within a very short window time frame, and then you have that credit that you can put towards another flight. So Southwest gives you a ton of flexibility too. And the thing about Southwest is if you're searching like Kayak or other flight tracking sites, Southwest usually doesn't show up. You can usually only see their rates on southwest.com. They're great because you get to bring 2 bags with you for free. So that's definitely an option that I often consider when I'm flying, if I'm able to. Then also, let's see, on the transportation note, packing light so that you don't have baggage fees. If you're able to roll a lot of your clothing items and you're able to get away with just like a carry-on or a personal item backpack or purse, and then a carry-on bag that goes overhead, and then you don't have to pay for checked bags, saves you some money there. I will say if you're flying Frontier, they have you pay for a carry-on item that gets stowed, and that's simply because they are a more eco-friendly airline. So then they're encouraging people to limit the amount of bags that they bring on. More bags equals more weight equals more fuel required to fly the plane, which I did not find out until about a year ago. At first I was like, why are you charging me for a carry-on bag? Everybody else just lets me bring one. And then I found that philosophy that they're backing, and I was very much in alignment with that. So just a little caveat for that. And then also for transportation, I use the app Gas Buddy anytime that we're traveling, or even like around Wisconsin. If I'm just like in the Milwaukee area and I'm heading home and I need some gas, I will pull up Gas Buddy and see what the cheapest gas is around me. A note on that, though, we found this out the hard way, is they will list some like Costco gas station or like Sam's Club gas station, which you still are required to be a member to roll up to that gas station to use it, which we found out the hard way a couple years ago, that you can't just roll up and be a regular old Joe Schmo and use their gas station pump. So Gas Buddy is great, totally free, and it can show you what's around you or even what's coming up if you're doing a road trip, and you've got some flexibility on when you fuel up and fill up on gas. I think those are all the tips that I can think of on saving on transportation. If you have any questions on that, feel free to drop me a comment. I can try and answer them in real time if they pop up, or send me a message too, or an email. My personal email is kate@wildclementine.com. Moving on to traveling on a budget with lodging. The first 2 that I will mention are free. One would be put a post out on Facebook and ask somebody, or ask your whole community, do you know somebody that lives in this area that is reputable and probably not going to kill me in my sleep, that I could crash with them for, a couple nights, or maybe the duration of your time, and possibly you trade like, cooking a meal for them, or they go hiking with you, or whatever it may be. And along those similar lines, there's a site called Couchsurfing, which is totally free. I have never used it. that's just my personal preference, but I've heard that it is very, very safe. Essentially, you couch surf on a stranger's couch. And the ways that, what comes up for me is I would think about if I am a solo female traveler, I would most likely just stay with a female host. I would really check the reviews, see how they're rated, see what past guests have said. And if it feels good in my gut, then I'll book it. I trust my gut a ton when I'm traveling and when I'm booking for travel and that kind of thing. Your intuition usually knows best. So couch surfing is totally free, and then just asking friends and family if they know somebody where you're traveling that you can crash with, that is always a free option. Next up would be either like camping or checking out a hostel or even doing some Airbnb. Camping is probably going to be the cheapest option unless you're looking at like, a KOA or something that's got a little bit more inclusions than just like a standard, Forest Service campsite, backcountry kind of thing. You can get campsites as cheap as like $10 a night, depending on where you're looking, and depending on what you're looking for. I have gotten to a point in my life where I often enjoy having an actual bathroom available to me, or if I know that I'm going to be camping for a number of nights, either an option for a shower or a shower nearby that I can, coin shower kind of thing, or even just running water that I can take a washcloth and rinse myself off and maybe dunk my head in a stream and that kind of thing. So knowing what your preferences are, but camping is always a cheaper option. We love camping. We love being outside. It's not everybody's preference. If you'd rather have kind of a roof over your head, then I would suggest looking if there are any hostels in the area. And again, with the hostel, I would just check the reviews, make sure that you have a way to keep your stuff secure. If you have some baggage that's like, what's the term, like tear-proof, so they can't like cut through them with a knife or scissors, and then if you maybe put some locks on your zippers, just be safe rather than sorry. Or Airbnb. Airbnb can be a great way to get either just a room in somebody's home that you are renting or the entire space to yourself. If I am traveling with like Andy or somebody else, I'm comfortable getting just a room in a space rather than the entire place to myself. And I've met some pretty cool people doing that. I also used to be an Airbnb host and had awesome experiences. I loved doing that. I mean, I also think I'm a pretty safe host, so that worked out a lot in my favor. Or if I'm doing something like for work and I want quiet or I just want that extra security, I will get a whole place to myself. And oftentimes that can be at a fraction of a cost of a hotel. If a hotel really aligns with the experience that you're looking for and that's just kind of what you want, I 99% of the time am booking my hotels through Priceline or Hotwire. And again, with Priceline, you can hook that up to Ibotta. You open up Ibotta, then you open up Priceline through Ibotta, and then you're going to get cash back on your hotel stay. Oftentimes, I'm looking at the Express Deals section of Priceline or the Hot Rates portion of Hotwire. That is where they publish a price for a hotel. They tell you like the star rating of the hotel, some of the amenities, like if there's free parking, breakfast included, Wi-Fi, all those sorts of things, but they don't tell you the name of the hotel. I'm going to let you in on a little secret, and hopefully Priceline doesn't take this away just by me sharing this, but you are able to figure out usually which hotel it is, even if it's an express deal or a hot rate hotel. What you do is you look at what the amenities are, the star rating, and then usually it says like the number of reviews for either TripAdvisor or I forget which other one. Like sometimes they'll do like Yelp reviews, I think. But you look at the number of reviews and it'll say like 800 plus. It doesn't give you the exact number all the time. And then what you do is you go back to the standard listing. I'm just going to use Priceline as the example. Go back to the standard listings on Priceline outside of the Express Deals. And then you filter it to whatever that Express Deals hotel rating was. So let's say it was 3 stars. You select only the 3 stars. Then you go back and you look at what the guest rating was. So let's say it said 8 plus. You're looking at any of them that say 8 plus, and then you're looking at that review number. So let's say it said 800 plus. So more often than not, you're going to find the 3-star hotel that had an 8 plus rating with 834 reviews, and it had the exact same amenities of free parking, Wi-Fi, pet friendly, yada, yada. 99% of the time, I know what the hotel is ahead of time. And when I book it, it confirms that. So that's just a little fun teaser for you. If you want more information on that, let me know. But again, I'm hoping that Priceline doesn't change that because I like being able to hack that and know that information ahead of time. Let's see, there was one other thing I was going to say with lodging. Oh, I know that I've never done this, but I know that these exist where you can do essentially like charity work for lodging. And if somebody knows the name of what this company is or this like nonprofit, but essentially you can figure out where you want to go, find lodging on this website, and then they'll say, you know, you can stay here for free if you help work on our farm, or you help feed our chickens, or you help, you know, with whatever such thing. And so it's a really great way to get a free place to stay, but also do some good in the world. And again, I'm totally like going really high level on that one and butchering what it's about and kind of what it's called, but I know those exist. So that is another option as well when it comes to lodging. Tea break. I said at the beginning of this video, I am determined to not get sick, even though Andy has a cold. Okay, so for saving on food, first off, don't do it. No, I'm just kidding. The food is the area that we splurge on, but we do make some conscious choices. If we have a certain budget that we've set aside for our travel, we'll splurge on like a dinner rather than, you know, breakfast or lunch. One thing that I have learned in my adult years, it is so easy to go overboard on breakfast. When you roll up someplace and they've got like a bangin' eggs Benedict and then bottomless mimosas and breakfast desserts, your breakfast can all of a sudden turn into like a $50 meal. And you know what? If that fits in with your vision, your alignment, go for it. But some mornings I'm like, holy crap, that was not what I expected, but I feel really nourished and satisfied, so we're just going to roll with it. Okay, so for saving on food, I make reservations through OpenTable whenever I can, because then I can get the points and I can use those points at a later reservation. I believe they've made some changes to that over the past couple of years, but I think now it's at the restaurant's discretion for how much you'll like, what kind of a discount you'll get when you redeem those points. I think it tells you a range, and it might even tell you when you're setting up that reward redemption, they might tell you ahead of time how much you're going to get. It's a little complicated system. That's kind of one downfall to the OpenTable system. It's not always super clear, which it's been that way for years, and it's kind of frustrating. So maybe they'll hear this and polish it up. But OpenTable is really great. You can see what times are available, and I highly recommend it too if you're going to either a popular location, like city-wise, or a popular restaurant. Some restaurants will book out, you know, months in advance for an actual reservation. So if you truly want that experience, I recommend booking that as soon as you know what your plans are and if that's in alignment for you. If you're not able to snag that reservation, but you still really want to check something out, some high-end restaurants will have like a bar menu that's a little bit lower price, but it also allows you to experience that restaurant and still be in that space, even if you weren't able to get that reservation or you just simply don't want to pay the prices on their standard menu. And a lot of times we love sitting at the bar. I love sitting at the bar, being able to chat with the staff and just kind of hear what they're about, hear their story. I'm previously like from the restaurant industry, and there are just so many great stories that bartenders and servers and baristas can share with you. And oftentimes, especially in like a high-end restaurant that's been around for a while, that staff knows what's happening in the community, and they can happily point you to other places either similar to theirs, or you're like, hey, I want a really great coffee shop that's got some, I don't know, organic egg whites. Like, what do you recommend? And they can probably pull something off of their, like off the top of their head right away. So those are great connections to make along the way too. But so high-end restaurant, eating their bar menu. If you're not able to get a reservation, you don't want to pay those prices, or sometimes those places will have special pricing different nights of the week, like slower nights. So oftentimes Sundays and Mondays are nights that typically aren't as busy for restaurants, especially a little bit higher end or kind of niche restaurants. So what they'll do is maybe they have a tasting menu and they discount it. If it was originally $90 for 3 courses, maybe they'll do like $60 for 3 courses or $50 for 3 courses on Sundays and Mondays. You're still getting the same experience. It's just not a standard night that people necessarily go out. And then in turn, that makes them pretty busy too. So it kind of works out across the board. So if you have some flexibility on your travel, check that out, see if that is an option. Another option would be finding a hotel that's got like breakfast included, or I know there's a chain called the Drury, I'm butchering that, D-R-U-R-Y, the Drury, I'm pretty sure. I've stayed in St. Louis. They have locations all across the country. They've got like different meal inclusions, like breakfast, lunch, and dinner, where they've got snacks put out and it's included in your stay. So if food isn't a priority for you, that can be a great option. Finding something with continental breakfast where you can make great, some healthy choices if they've got like eggs and sausage or fresh fruit or yogurt or whatever it may be, and then putting your money towards different meals throughout the day that you can splurge on. Another thing that we will do is if we want to save a little bit of money on breakfast, or we just want to be really conscious of what we're eating, we'll go to a local grocery store, pick up some like juices and apples and peanut butter, or if there's a microwave in the room and we can, quick whip up some eggs and we can get like a Tupperware container and a 6-pack of eggs and just scramble them real quick in the microwave. That can be a great way, making some of your own meals. If you're camping, it can be super easy to make your own meals. Obviously, you've got the campfire, whatever you can do that way. And also, I would say research your restaurants well and just make sure that you think it's going to be a really good choice and that it's going to be good. If you're going to spend money on it, you want it to be worth it. And that's just one of my pet peeves, is when I am researching restaurants and I am digging and trying to find something good, it irritates the hell out of me when somebody is just putting out an average product and they're not putting heart and soul into what they're doing, and it's just kind of a money maker for them. If you find a restaurant that you can tell is invested in their community, they care about the people that they're cooking for, they love what they're doing, chances are they're going to be pretty freaking good. Whether it's just, a dive bar burger that they're putting out there, or if it's a 10-course chef tasting menu. If somebody's got heart and soul into it, I am down for eating there. But if it's just like a generic menu with, Cobb salad and some cheese curds and whatever, and I can't tell what they're about or if they're even worth it, I'm probably going to skip it. So take your time, do some research on your restaurants. If you're going to be taking the time to spend some money on them and spend some time with them, make sure it's worth it, no matter what kind of restaurant you're looking for. And then just kind of an overall way to save money on travel, whether it's food or lodging or transport, is if you have a travel credit card that's got like points back, cash back for travel expenses, that can be an easy way to travel, pay it off, get those points, put it towards, maybe a plane ticket, hotel stay, whatever it may be. We don't do that a ton. A lot of times we're just paying it off. And we do have a travel credit card, but I don't always take advantage of those points. And that's not always like conscious in my mind, but I know that there are definitely avenues and ways that you can be super intentional with that. I'm just not going to speak to it because I'm not an expert on it, but I know they exist. And then the last point that I want to share is making money while you're traveling. I mentioned this at the beginning of the video. I have the good fortune of being able to take my work with me, and I travel a lot for work. So being a photographer, maybe this can translate to your business, your industry, whatever you do for work. Maybe it's even just setting up meetings and making connections. But I am oftentimes looking on Instagram and social media, or asking friends, like, do you know anybody in this place that I'm going that you think that I should work with? Whether that's for brand photography or working with a restaurant or brewery that might need some updated photos. Maybe it's even just setting up a coffee meeting with somebody that I'm really inspired by, or I just want to connect with, and just kind of getting that ball rolling for future travel purposes. Planting the seeds now, but then reaping that harvest later. Or even just bringing my laptop with me and still being able to get in some work hours while I'm traveling. Essentially, then I get to make money while I'm traveling. But if you're able to translate that to your field of work, I feel like the possibilities are endless depending on what you're doing. Maybe it's, like I said, maybe it's even just sitting down, having coffee, having a meeting, that kind of thing. You never know what that's going to lead to. And maybe they will be a free couch option for you the next time that you're traveling. Who knows? Another great option can be, if you travel a lot, blogging about your travels, talking about them on social media. I'm not going to dive into the whole like influencer mindset and method and that kind of thing, but just being conscious and kind of a good citizen. And if you've had a great experience somewhere, talk about it. Leave them a review, blog about it, put it on Instagram, talk about them in your story. People love knowing what's great and also on the other side, what's not great for a new place and when they're traveling. And that can be such a service to, somebody that's researching that. And the people that you're giving a shout out to, if it's positive, maybe they'll follow you back. Maybe they'll say, hey, like next time you're in town, a drink is on me, that kind of thing. You never know what is going to come from just that goodwill of saying, hey, I was here and I had an amazing experience and I loved it. You should check them out too. So those are my kind of high level but deep dive ways to travel on a budget. We touched on saving on transportation. We touched on saving on lodging, saving on food, and then just a very few ideas on making money while you travel. And again, another way to get some cash back would be either a travel credit card, using something like Ibotta, Open Table for when you're booking your food experiences and that kind of thing. If you have any questions on travel or like things that you've heard of that I didn't mention, feel free to reach out, ask me any questions. I know that it can kind of seem like a mystery when we're traveling to somewhere new and you're like, oh, I don't know about this restaurant or this hotel, or is this the best price? Feel free to reach out, ask me any questions, drop a comment below. If this is something that resonated with you, go ahead and give this video a like, because that lets me know that this content is relevant to you and I can create more content like that, or I can switch it up and we can talk about something new. If you have something on your mind that you want to learn more about, comment that below as well and I can make a video for you and make that happen. All right, guys, I am going to get back to work. I hope you guys have an awesome day and I will talk to you soon.